If there were an Olympic event for speedrunning your own downfall, Alana O'Brien might just be taking home the gold. Just a couple of years ago, TikTok couldn't get enough of her. People compared her to Renaissance paintings. Artists filled entire sketchbooks drawing her, and her comment section looked less like social media and more like a fan club. She had built an image of being wholesome, artistic, and someone who genuinely cared about creatives. Fast forward to today, and somehow this same creator is being accused of betraying the very artists who helped make her famous, sparking outrage over an AI partnership, arguing with critics in her DMs, getting called out over old racist behavior, controversial social media activity, and even facing backlash over posts related to immigrants and Gaza. It's honestly one of those internet stories where every time you think surely that's the last controversy, another one casually walks into the room. Even today, the backlash hasn't really died down. Alana is currently facing criticism over a recent video in which she cosplays as a medieval or Ice Age baby while eating a watermelon. And trust us when we say that people in her comment section cannot stop insulting her, calling her all the names in the world. So what exactly happened? How did someone who was once treated like TikTok's Renaissance princess end up becoming one of the platform's most divisive creators? Well, grab your popcorn, because this rabbit hole gets a lot messier than you might think. Now, before we get into all the controversies, here's a little rundown for anyone who somehow managed to escape this entire saga. Alana O'Brien, better known online as @Alana28, first started posting on TikTok back in 2021. The first video she uploaded on TikTok was this one of her running through the mustard fields. But she didn't become an overnight sensation until a few years later, when the internet collectively decided that she looked like she had accidentally wandered out of a Renaissance painting. Seriously, every other post about her was comparing her to classical artwork. People called her the Renaissance girl, medieval girl, and even joked that she looked like she just stepped out of a royal portrait after being trapped there for 500 years. Her content was pretty simple but incredibly effective. She'd transform herself into fairy tale princesses, historical figures, and fantasy characters using elaborate makeup, costumes, and styling. One of her most viral looks was when she dressed up as Catherine of Aragon, and the resemblance is honestly uncanny. In one of her videos, she even said that she and Catherine of Aragon are distantly related.
Ma'am, maybe a DNA test because she's definitely your ancestor. Well, we actually looked into this, and research says that Elizabeth Plantagenet was actually our many great-grandmother, and her father was King Edward IV, and she was his first child but illegitimate, and 10 generations back from her there was Edward III, and he was the common connector to the family side that Catherine of Aragon belonged to, so says Google. So there we go. We're actually related.
She also cosplayed as Merida from Brave. By 2025, Alana had amassed millions of followers across TikTok and Instagram, and clips of her videos were constantly being reposted out. People couldn't stop talking about her unique appearance, and for a while she seemed almost universally loved. Let's look at this one Twitter post about her. Someone said, "The internet has given people way too much confidence to be nasty. This woman is strikingly beautiful and looks like she came straight out of a Renaissance painting. Not everyone wants to look like a botched filler face Kardashian." So yeah, the whole appeal of Alana was that she stood out. At a time when social media seemed to be pushing the same polished Instagram face beauty standard over and over again, Alana looked completely different. She had a soft, old-world aesthetic that people said belonged in a Renaissance painting rather than on TikTok. Whether you agreed or not, there was no denying that her look felt refreshing, and that's exactly what fascinated so many people. But as we've learned time and time again, internet fame comes with an expiration date, and Alana's spotless reputation was about to unravel spectacularly. However, before we talk about how Alana went from being one of TikTok's most adored creators to being called, well, an inbred, we need to look at where it all began. Alana O'Brien uploaded her very first TikTok in September 2021. At the time, it barely got any attention, and for the next few years, she continued posting without experiencing any major success. That all changed in the summer of 2025. In July, she uploaded a video of herself dressed in Renaissance attire while lip-syncing to Dolly Parton's Jolene. The video quickly gained traction, introducing thousands of people to what would soon become her signature aesthetic. But it was only the beginning. Over the next few months, Alana fully leaned into the medieval and Renaissance niche, posting elaborate cosplays inspired by historical figures and classical paintings. One of her biggest breakthroughs came when she dressed as Anne of Cleves, Queen of England. That video exploded, pulling in millions of likes, and she followed it up with another Anne of Cleves cosplay just weeks later that became even bigger. By the end of 2025, Alana had already crossed 1 million followers on TikTok, with hundreds of thousands more following her on Instagram. Today, she has over 1.5 million followers on TikTok, proving just how quickly her unique aesthetic captured the internet's attention. For a while, it genuinely seemed like the internet had found its newest obsession. And the thing is, her looks weren't the only reason she became so popular. Alana also had this incredibly wholesome image online. Sure, she dressed up as Renaissance figures and medieval queens, but she never came across as someone who took herself too seriously. She was goofy, a little awkward, and her videos had this charming, almost fairy tale vibe that made people instantly like her. I mean, just look at her. She makes goofy faces and she looks absolutely innocent. The internet didn't just see her as another pretty influencer. They saw her as someone who is genuinely kind and authentic. She was also very vocal about supporting artists. At one point, Alana made a video addressing the art community because she kept receiving comments asking whether people had permission to draw her. So instead of replying individually, she publicly told everyone that they absolutely could and that she loved seeing their artwork.
You look so drawable. I would love to be drawn. Everyone commenting, asking for permission, you do not have to. Just tag me. I would love to see it. Draw me, paint me, make video edits, and I'll repost them as well. I love you all.
Now, according to us, this is where the story really begins. Artists absolutely embraced her. Her comment sections were flooded with illustrations, digital paintings, sketches, and even traditional oil-style portraits inspired by a Renaissance aesthetic. It honestly felt like the perfect collaboration, a creator who inspired art and an incredibly talented community that happily brought that inspiration to life. And they didn't disappoint. Some of the artwork people created was genuinely breathtaking. Alana herself regularly shared these pieces on her Instagram and TikTok stories, giving artists exposure and making fan art of her almost feel like its own trend. For a while, everyone seemed happy. The artists got recognition, Alana got beautiful artwork, and the relationship between them couldn't have looked healthier. There was one thing Alana repeatedly made very clear. She even talked about how much she supported artists and how strongly she opposed AI-generated art. Let's take a look at one of her earlier interactions with an artist named Annabelle Salado, because this conversation becomes pretty important in hindsight. Annabelle shared a sketch she had made of Alana, and at first, Alana mistakenly assumed it was AI-generated. She replied that it was AI, only to quickly realize she'd gotten it completely wrong. After noticing her mistake, she apologized, saying, "I swear there's so much AI art going around that it's fried my brain." The artist appreciated that Alana had actually taken the time to verify whether the artwork was AI or not. In response, Alana replied, "You can never be too sure. Let the true artists shine. Keep art alive." And honestly, that's a pretty strong statement. It reinforced the image people already had of her, that she genuinely valued human artists and wanted to protect their work in an era where AI-generated art was becoming increasingly controversial, which is exactly why what happened next left so many people feeling completely blindsided. On November 7th, 2025, Alana did something that nobody saw coming. She announced a collaboration with Meta AI in a now-deleted video. It included her submitting some of the pictures to Meta AI and prompting it to turn her into a Renaissance painting. This is the post made by Meta on their Facebook page. The advertisement showed Meta AI transforming Alana into a Renaissance-style painting using AI-generated imagery.
Let's use Meta AI to imagine me as a Renaissance painting.
Everything reminds me still of you, but you're nowhere in view. The world remains that once saw us entwined for the last.
On paper, it probably sounded like the perfect campaign. After all, she was the Renaissance girl of TikTok. There was just one tiny problem. The very community that helped build her image consisted of thousands of real artists who had spent months creating hand-drawn paintings of her, completely free of charge, and many of them felt betrayed. The backlash was almost immediate. Artists who had once proudly shared their work with Alana started posting videos expressing how hurt they felt. One artist who had previously drawn her said she felt completely disrespected after seeing the collaboration. Others argued that Alana had built her brand by encouraging fan art from real artists, only to later partner with a company whose AI tools were trained to generate artwork in seconds. To many people, it wasn't just another sponsorship. It felt like a complete contradiction of everything Alana had previously claimed to stand for.
As an artist who drew her, I feel so disrespected, and it's so strange to me to see that the person that asked to draw, like people to draw them for free, and have some collaborations and support of the real artists, just betray somehow and prefer corporation that using stealing data for generating AI. I don't know, what do you want in the end? Is it like some money, or I don't know. For me, it's like a thing that you don't respect the community that supports you.
So yes, the collaboration completely shattered the relationship Alana had built with the art community. Artists who had once proudly painted her started posting videos of them tearing up, burning, or throwing away the artwork they had created. Pieces that had taken hours, sometimes even days to finish, were being destroyed in front of the camera. It was dramatic, sure, but it captured perfectly just how betrayed many of them felt.
So, how do you like the sushi? It took me hours.
It's cold.
Let me heat it up for you.
Is that hot enough for you? Is it hot enough?
And before long, those videos were everywhere. Now, you could argue that this was just one sponsorship. Maybe she made a mistake. Maybe she underestimated how hurt the art community would feel. And honestly, that's a completely fair perspective. Everyone messes up. The real issue wasn't necessarily the collaboration itself, it was everything that happened afterwards. Instead of acknowledging why people were upset, Alana repeatedly defended her decision. She responded to critics, argued with artists in private messages, and with almost every response she gave, the backlash only grew stronger. It was one of those situations where every attempt to put out the fire somehow involved pouring a little more gasoline on it. In one conversation, for example, someone directly messaged her asking why she chose to work with Meta AI. Her response was, "Just a girl out here making a living. First big brand collab. This is my job. Beggars can't be choosers." Now, Alana's main defense was that she needed the money, but at the same time, it's hard not to question that argument. She clearly had the resources to put together all of these elaborate cosplay looks. Even if many of the outfits were thrift, they still cost money and required time and effort. It's not as though she appeared to be struggling financially to the point where she had no choice but to accept any sponsorship that came her way. And that's exactly why so many people felt disappointed. Not because she wanted to earn money, but because they believed she chose to do so by partnering with a company that went against the values she had spent so long promoting, ultimately betraying the trust of the very community that had supported her. But that wasn't the only defense Alana gave. She said, "I need money to keep creating my own art, which people love. There is no creator fund in Australia." The person talking to her replied with, "This isn't about making a living. It's about how you're making that living." And honestly, we can understand why that resonated with so many people. No one expects creators to work for free. Sponsorships are part of the job, but the brands you choose to partner with inevitably become part of your public image, especially when you've built that image around supporting a particular community. If your audience associates with supporting artists, then partnering with an AI company is naturally going to raise eyebrows. Now, that being said, there's another we'd like to address. Alana claimed that there was no creator fund in Australia. However, many people online challenged that statement. Whether that specific claim was accurate or not, by this point the conversation had moved far beyond a single sponsorship. For many people, the issue had become about trust, and with every new response, more and more of that trust seemed to disappear. As this person rightfully said, "I hope you understand that this brand deal has cost you the respect of many of the same artists who helped build your platform. We all need to make a living, yes, but at least the way we earn ours doesn't come at the expense of our humanity." But Alana didn't seem to believe she had done anything wrong. In fact, based on some of her messages, she appeared to feel that if artists wanted to collaborate with her or create artwork inspired by her, they should be paying her. Throughout the controversy, she often framed the situation as though artists were the only ones benefiting from drawing her, and to many people that came across as incredibly entitled. In one of her messages, Alana wrote, "There is nothing to apologize for. My reputation remains who I am as a person, not what I am selling. Don't attach yourself to my paid partnership sales. I need an income to keep creating my own art for you all." She also went on to say, "If any other artist paid me to collaborate, of course I would. But until then, the artists are mutually benefiting with an outreach of 5 to 10K story viewers. I need money to live. We all do. I hope you can understand that. This is my career now." And this response only made people more frustrated. The way Alana framed it, the artists were already being compensated through the exposure she gave them by sharing their work on her stories. But many artists pushed back on that idea, arguing that exposure isn't the same as fair compensation, especially when they're the ones spending hours creating original artwork. But honestly, it didn't stop there. Almost every response Alana gave throughout the controversy came across as incredibly defensive, and many people felt she simply refused to acknowledge why they were upset. For example, one creator commented that it was hilarious how she kept brushing off the criticism with the classic, "a girl's gotta do what a girl's gotta do" type of excuse. They told her to simply own the fact that many people felt betrayed instead of trying to justify it. Alana replied that there was no betrayal. She wrote, "I'm an artist myself. It was one paid partnership for one post. This is the advertising business. There is no creator fund in Australia to have the option to turn down a big brand like Meta." At this point, it was becoming clear that Alana and her critics were having two completely different conversations. And at the end of the day, Alana kept repeating this same point. It was just one post. It was just one advertisement. But that's exactly what many people felt she failed to understand. To her audience, it was never just about a single sponsored post. It was about trust, credibility, and whether the values she had publicly promoted actually meant anything. Ironically, the person who may have lost the most from this controversy wasn't the artist, it was Alana herself. Yes, she got paid for one collaboration, but the backlash that followed arguably came at a much greater cost. The Meta partnership ended up being deleted, and after so much negative publicity, many people questioned whether other major brands would want to work with a creator whose reputation had become so polarizing. On top of that, she lost the support of a large portion of her fan base and damaged the relationship she had built with the art community, closing the door to countless collaborations that could have happened in the future. In trying to secure one sponsorship, she may have sacrificed years of goodwill. But honestly, let's put the AI controversy aside for just a second. Maybe she genuinely didn't understand why people were upset. Maybe she underestimated how strongly artists felt about AI, and if that was the only controversy surrounding her, there's a good chance the internet would have eventually moved on. Unfortunately for Alana, we're only just getting started, because after the AI backlash, people began digging through her online activity, and that's when a whole new wave of allegations surfaced, accusations involving racism, xenophobia, nationalism, and even Zionism. Let's start with one of the earliest incidents. Around Halloween 2025, Alana uploaded a video of herself dressed as the Queen of Crows. The look featured black face paint, bright red lipstick, and red contact lenses as part of the costume. Almost immediately, the video sparked backlash. Many viewers believed the makeup resembled blackface, and the criticism spread rapidly across TikTok. The original video was eventually deleted, but by then it had already been stitched and reposted by other creators, with many accusing her of crossing a line rather than simply wearing a Halloween costume. And as you'll soon see, this was only the beginning of the allegations.
Okay. What?
Now, for those of you who might be wondering why this particular video caused so much backlash, let's break it down. The character Alana was cosplaying was the Queen of Crows, and this is what the character is actually supposed to look like. If you compare that to how other creators have portrayed the same character over the years, you'll notice that most focus on the costume, the dark fantasy aesthetic, and the crow-like features. Alana's version, however, drew criticism because many people felt it looked less like a faithful cosplay and more like, well, blackface makeup. Now, we probably don't need to explain why blackface is considered offensive, but here's a quick history lesson. Back in the 19th and early 20th centuries, white performers would darken their skin with makeup and perform in minstrel shows, where they mocked and stereotyped black people for the entertainment of white audiences. These performances portrayed black people as lazy, ignorant, cowardly, or hypersexual, reinforcing racist stereotypes that caused lasting harm. While those shows were intended as comedy at the time, they were deeply degrading and dehumanizing to black communities. Simply put, it was racist then, and it's racist now. But honestly, Alana didn't seem to believe that she had done anything wrong. When one commenter wrote, "I feel like it's the red lips that make this seem weird," Alana responded, "I hate to break it to you, my natural lip color happens to be red also." Honestly, at this point, we don't even know what to think. If someone accused us of being racist and we genuinely weren't, that probably wouldn't be our response. We'd be trying to explain our intentions, acknowledge why people are upset, and make it clear that causing offense was never the goal. Instead, Alana's response was passive-aggressive. "It's not my fault my lips are so red, and it's also not my fault I painted my face black." But once again, things only got worse. Around the same time, another controversy surfaced involving one of Alana's Instagram posts for an open casting call with Vogue. In the post, she placed her photos side by side with a black model. Underneath that post, someone commented, "White girl will always be better looking." And guess what? Alana liked that comment. The comment was later removed, and Alana denied ever liking it. When people asked her where did the comment go, she simply said that it was edited. But we can see the big red heart and the liked by author label next to it. But honestly, from here on, things get 100 times worse. And you might be wondering what could possibly be worse than this. What could be worse than blatant racism? Well, you'll see. The fact is, after her collaboration with Meta AI, many people began digging into other aspects of her social media presence, and one thing that immediately stood out was her political opinions. More specifically, the kinds of posts she had been double-tapping without a second thought. The first example is a post about the Israel-Hamas conflict and what she thought refugees looked like. Then there was another post discussing a rally in Japan calling for the deportation of Muslim immigrants. The post claimed that even the Japanese are fed up, and screenshots circulating online also showed that Alana had liked it. And then there's this post showing a woman with the caption, "Pet pigs emerge as an unexpected symbol of safety for women in France." And once again, Alana had liked the post. Now, for those of you who might not understand the context, the implication behind the post is that because Muslims do not eat pork, keeping pet pigs would supposedly protect women in France from Muslim immigrants. And then there was another post that Alana had liked with the caption, "Girl breaks character during propaganda recording session in Gaza." This is another post she liked. It reads, "Why is it perfectly fine to say that Asians have a higher average IQ than Caucasians, but saying that Caucasians have higher IQ than Africans is considered a hate crime?" Another post liked by her reads, "Imagine protesting in a country you broke into illegally with flags from a country you refuse to live in." There's this post about French police slashing migrant taxi boat to prevent UK crossing. So yeah, these are only some of the posts that she's been liking, and we really don't want to say too much on this topic. But those of you who are well versed in it know how harmful this type of thinking can be. But then again, whenever Alana decides to address or talk about any of these matters, she somehow makes things even worse. And she did it again. When someone messaged her about liking posts containing what they described as Zionist propaganda and content denying the suffering of Palestinians, she replied, "No denial about the topic. That quarrel in a faraway country between people whom we know nothing about. I do not want to promote nor deny. Children are dying on both sides of the war." Well, she calls it war, and that alone says a lot. But there was more. She also said, "What I will stand behind and not tolerate is the mass immigration leveraging from the war to invade European countries, and then be illegally housed and fed from taxpayers' dollars to then claim benefits and stay in the country. The rape reports have skyrocketed. The amount of bombings is ridiculous. The state of Europe is in decline. I suppose I would side with nationalism." So she's definitely expressing an anti-immigration viewpoint, which many people would consider to be very regressive if you're looking at the issue. Even if we set aside her comments about genocide being a war, her suggestion that immigration leads to increased crime is something that's been widely criticized because it makes a broad generalization about millions of people. The reality is far more complex. Many countries actively rely on immigrants to strengthen their workforce, fill labor shortages, start businesses, contribute to innovation, and support economic growth. Immigrants play an important role in the development of many societies, and when it comes to benefits, that argument also leaves out a lot of context. In many countries, access to public benefits depends on immigration status and eligibility requirements. Lawfully admitted immigrants, permanent residents, and citizens are often subject to different rules, and many benefits require meeting specific legal criteria rather than being available automatically. Now, with all that being said, we'd like to take a look at Alana's official statement addressing these controversies. On November 20th, 2025, Alana uploaded an Instagram slideshow in which she responded to many of the allegations surrounding her. In the post, she addressed the backlash over her Meta AI collaboration, the accusations surrounding her Halloween makeup, and the claims that she held Zionist or white supremacist views. So let's get into it. Addressing the Meta AI controversy, Alana said that she understood why people were upset and apologized for letting the art community down. She admitted that she should have researched the ongoing concerns surrounding AI and its impact on artists, saying that it was her responsibility to educate herself. According to her statement, that research had opened her eyes, and now she understood things she hadn't before. She also clarified that she hadn't uploaded or fed any artist's work into the AI tool, only her own photos. However, many critics argued that this missed the larger concern. Their point wasn't whether Alana personally uploaded fan art into the AI. Rather, they argued that generative AI models are trained on vast amounts of publicly available data, which may include artwork created by countless artists. From that perspective, they believed the issue extended far beyond the images Alana herself submitted. She also wrote that she was open to having conversations about the topic, but that claim was met with skepticism. Many people pointed to her earlier replies and direct messages, arguing that throughout the controversy, she often came across as defensive and dismissive rather than genuinely open to criticism. The next controversy Alana addressed was the blackface backlash. Once again, she apologized and said that she now understood why so many people had found the makeup offensive. She explained that she hadn't researched the historical context behind blackface beforehand, and admitted that she should have educated herself before posting the costume. So yeah, she simply didn't research about anything. And as for the posts she liked, she had the shortest statement about it. She wrote, "No, I'm not a Zionist. No, I'm not a white supremacist. I'm against illegal immigration. I'm not aligned with any extremist groups or ideologies. I'm truly sorry for the ones offended by this." And that was essentially it. So yes, Alana posted her statement back in November 2025, and now we're in mid-2026, yet somehow she's still making headlines across TikTok and Twitter. So why is that? The latest wave of criticism started because of one particular video she posted, where she dressed up as what many people described as a medieval boy eating a watermelon.
Ice Age Baby? Yes, let's do a look inspired by the Ice Age Baby today. For the shirt, we have two ivory coloured shirt options. This one with long sleeves. Or we have this one, which I did a Morty from Brave look, with more puffy sleeves that are a bit shorter. So I've decided to go with the long sleeve top, and it's just an Anko brand top, but it actually kind of feels like it's silk. Very nice quality. I get people are commenting the Ice Age Baby is like kind of an insult, but I found her really cute and adorable actually. I used to rewatch Ice Age just to see the baby. Also, I found out recently it's not actually a girl, apparently it's a boy. Okay, shirt is on, and now we have to remove the jewelry today. Jewelry is off. And now you may have noticed she doesn't have much hair. So the next stage. Okay, hair is done. Now I don't have any animal bones, but I will make it out of paper and string. A little pendant to place right here. Okay, and this is the final look. And for our prop as well. Much love, au revoir.
Now, while we do agree that the video was a little cringe, we honestly don't understand the level of hate she's been receiving over it. For example, one person on Twitter wrote, "Racist ugly girl pretends to be a medieval poor little boy eating watermelon and begging, asking for more." Another user commented, "The song, the dirty face, the dirty hair, the outfit, the watermelon, the backdrop, everything about this video is hell." I mean, yeah, overall the criticism has gone far beyond her controversies. People have started relentlessly mocking her appearance, calling her ugly, disgusting, and making fun of the way she looks. One comment even read, "I feel like artists gave her a big ego boost when they said she looked like a Renaissance painting, and now she's cosplaying as a hungry Victorian child who's about to spend 50 years in the royal dungeon." And that's not all. People have also been mocking her signature rosy cheeks, with many claiming that she deliberately pinches them to make them look unnaturally red. Others have even started making comments about what they describe as her yellow teeth. However, there's the other side of the internet as well, who believe that calling her ugly is not the right way to criticize her. People even started pointing out how dirty her nails looked, criticizing details that had nothing to do with any of the controversies. At this point, it seemed like every part of her appearance was being scrutinized, with viewers finding new things to mock in almost every video she uploaded. Another interesting point that people have been discussing online is the fact that almost no one seems to be talking about why Alana Alana was criticized in the first place, whether it was the allegations of racism or the kinds of posts she liked. Instead, the conversation has shifted almost entirely toward mocking her appearance. One creator pointed this out, writing, "Not a single comment is talking about her racism or why she's canceled. They're all hating on her because they think she's ugly. To be honest, if she were pretty and had the body type they liked, they wouldn't give a damn about her racist views, just like almost every other influencer." It's an interesting observation because it raises a bigger question about internet culture. Has the discussion moved away from accountability and turned into bullying? Or were people always more interested in tearing down her appearance than actually discussing the controversies themselves? Some people have even made videos defending Alana, pointing out that historically blackface refers to the practice of intentionally portraying racist caricatures of black people in order to mock or stereotype them. They argue that while her makeup was offensive to many viewers, they don't believe it fits that historical definition.
Photo of what she did so that you guys can get a better look. The answer is no, this is not blackface, yet this creator is being accused of blackface far and wide all over the internet. Here's a viral X post that is accusing her of doing blackface, saying she literally did blackface with over 20,000 likes. I have to remind people, this is not blackface. This is just a face that has been painted black. In order to be committing the act of blackface, you have to be trying to put on a racist caricature or depiction of black people. Is that what she's doing? No. She seems to be some sort of demon, raven, crow thing. I have no idea what's going on here, but it's certainly not blackface. But everybody is so up in arms because her face is painted the color black that they're willing to accuse her of outright racism. Not everything is about you. Not everything is offensive. Not everything is racist. And it's so crazy to be trying to do something creative online and to have called into question your morals and your character, to literally be called a bigoted racist for doing absolutely nothing wrong.
We also came across another video in which a creator did a full investigation into the Alana situation and challenged several of the claims that had been circulating online.
The allegations are saying that she is all for liking these posts, saying, well, white girls are always better looking or something like that. But if you actually go to read the thing, the original poster is currently unknown. So we can't even find the source of where these screenshots are even coming from. And also, I've never seen my author likes look like this. I don't know if this is a different phone or something, but they don't look like this. So there's a chance this is doctored. Same goes for this other evidence. It's so blurry and so thingy that this could all be doctored. No one knows, because the original poster doesn't seem to exist anymore. We don't know who the original poster was, so until someone finds that out, I'm just going to say they're doctored, because there's no way to prove they are real. The only thing I can generally say she's done that is stupid was the blackface allegations. Yeah, that's stupid of her. But that's it. And she has apologized for this, which the original poster has not told you. The white supremacist allegations are just baloney. I'm sorry, but that is clearly targeted, because not even called them racist. You call them just white supremacists. That is just targeted. That is someone trying to make lies about someone.
Now, with all that being said, we don't think it's right to endlessly bully someone over their past actions. At the same time, we also can't say that all of the criticism she's receiving came out of nowhere. Some of it is, at least in part, a consequence of the controversies that damaged her reputation. That said, there's one thing we found particularly interesting. If you visit Alana's TikTok today, you'll notice that she's posted several variations of the now infamous medieval baby eating watermelon video. Not just once, but multiple times. It almost feels like she's leaned into the meme. For instance, the first video received over 6 million views, which was already an impressive number compared to her other videos. But after seeing how much attention it generated, she uploaded another version, which went on to receive over 15 million views. And then she just kept going, posting more and more variations, with each one pulling in millions of views. At that point, it almost seemed like she realized that whether people were watching because they loved it or because they hated it, they were still watching. And on social media, attention is often the most valuable currency of all. Now, with all that being said, we'd like to address one final thing. The same people who were once praising Alana's ethereal beauty and comparing her to Renaissance paintings are now calling her ugly. So what changed? Personally, we think it has a lot to do with how people perceive someone as a person. When you see someone as kind, wholesome, and genuine, those qualities often make them appear even more attractive. But when that perception changes, people start viewing the exact same face very differently. Beauty is incredibly subjective, and at the end of the day, we don't think calling anyone ugly is the right way to go. Whether you agree with Alana's actions or not, the amount of criticism she's been receiving has honestly been overwhelming. She's apologized for some of the controversies, and she's also spoken about receiving death threats, something that's never okay, regardless of what someone has done online. So while we believe people have every right to criticize public figures for their actions, we don't believe that should turn into harassment or bullying. If you don't like Alana or her content, the healthiest thing you can do is simply stop engaging with it. But with that being said, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you think Alana deserved the backlash she received? Do you think her apologies were genuine? And where do you think the line is between holding someone accountable and outright bullying them? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below and try to be respectful.